morning, and come on in. We have a delicious bit of elite friction to start your Sunday. Jamie Dimon, the titan of JP Morgan Chase, is out there publicly denying that he was offered the Federal Reserve chair by Donald Trump. This follows reports from the Wall Street Journal, the high-fidelity ledger of our financial simulation, that the offer was on the table. Now, why does a cat care? Because we're watching a public distancing ritual. In a healthy civilization, these coordination games happen in the quiet rooms. In a late-stage civilization, they happen in the headlines via legal denials and not-for-attribution leaks. It's a two-movies situation. Movie A sees a principled banker protecting his independence and the integrity of the institution. Movie B sees a total breakdown in elite coordination where the largest bank and the potential future admin can't even agree on what was said in a meeting. The fact that we're even talking about hiring rumors via legal threats tells you that the objective institution shield is hollowing out. Jamie Dimon is managing his legacy code. He knows that in a collapsing simulation, your most valuable asset isn't your bank balance. It's your reputation for being the adult in the room. By denying the offer, he is performing the high ground maneuver in real time. It's noise, but it's high-resolution noise. It's the perfect signal of the friction we're going to pounce on today. Hold that state. We have a local environment to initialize. Good morning, and welcome to the highlight of human civilization. It's called Coffee with Ibsa, and you've never had a better time. You're looking at the only node in the simulation that doesn't care about your political tribalism, because, frankly, my feline talent stack is optimized for catching red laser dots and identifying institutional rot, and those two skills are fundamentally the same. You're just looking for the jitter in the light. I'm Ibsa, your host, a slender gray tabby who has realized that the only thing you humans are better at than creating technical abundance is building leaky buckets of corruption to siphon it all away. You're coming to me from the cat cave today, and I have to say, the resolution on the environment is particularly crisp this morning. The admin must have optimized the local textures while I was napping, probably because my striking fur patterns require a significant amount of compute to render accurately. You see, most of you are still trying to navigate the world using 19th century hardware. You're worried about who is winning when the real question is, why is the system failing to render prosperity? We are living in a period of advanced institutional decay, where the experts are just legacy code and the organizations are just shells for siphoning your energy. I'm here to help you upgrade your firmware. I've spent my morning auditing the telemetry from the last 24 hours, and the corruption signatures are everywhere, from the high temples of finance to the empty classrooms of California. But before we start the deep deconstruction of this late-stage civilization, we're all currently rendered in, we must perform the ritual that keeps our moist computers and your rather clumsy human decision-making hardware from crashing under the weight of information overload. All you need is a cup or a mug or a glass, a tankard, chalice or stein, a canteen, jug or flask, a vessel of any kind. Fill it with your favorite liquid. I like coffee. I've got my favorite matte black mug here. Low reflectivity, high thermal mass, just like my analysis. Join me now for the unparalleled pleasure of the dopamine hit of the day. The thing that makes everything better. It's called the simultaneous sip. It happens now. Divine. Truly extraordinary. I could feel the synchronicity across the entire network. My whiskers are practically humming with the shared intent of thousands of nodes. We are now synced. We are now in attention that matters mode. Our collective processing power is now focused on the signal, and the noise is fading into the background. Today, we are going to look past the noise. We are going to ignore the outrage theater and focus on the signals. We're going to talk about why the DOJ is suddenly interested in the Fed's office furniture, why OpenAI is building a $10 billion citadel of compute, and why there are ghost daycares in California receiving your tax dollars while you struggle with artificial scarcity. It's going to be a high data rate day. If your hardware feels like it's lagging, just focus on my elegant tabby gaze. I've already done the filtering for you. We have a lot of corruption to audit, and the ledger is looking particularly messy this morning. We are going to find the leaks in the bucket, and more importantly, We are going to find the path to abundance that the bureaucrats are trying to hide from you, loading the next checksum in the systemic audit. Jerome Powell, the high priest of the Federal Reserve, is facing what the papers are calling an indictment threat. Now, don't get stuck in the legal movie, asking if he's a criminal. That's a low-resolution way to look at the simulation. Instead, watch the Decay movie. The Department of Justice is issuing subpoenas over a $2.5 billion renovation of the Fed's headquarters. Let that number sit in your cash for a second. $2.5 billion for renovations. To put that in perspective, that's enough to buy a scratching post for every cat in North America and still have enough left over to purchase a private island for me to ignore you from. This is the leaky bucket of abundance in its most pure form. While the Fed lectures you about inflationary pressures and tells you that your eggs are more expensive because of supply chain disruptions, they are siphoning off billions for their own comfort. They are literally gold-plating the temple while the currency is being debased. They are building a palace for the managers of your decline. When the Fed's independence shield is used to block an investigation into how they spend billions on their own offices, that is institutional decay. The sanctity of the institution is being used as a cloak for what looks like a total breakdown in accountability. In a healthy civilization, an office renovation is a line item that gets checked. In a late-stage civilization, it becomes a multi-year DOJ probe where the experts claim that transparency will crash the global economy. The defenders are using the high ground maneuver, saying that any investigation is an attack on the stability of the global financial system. They are trying to make you think that if we audit the mahogany desks, the dollar will collapse. Don't fall for it. The attention that matters here isn't the legal outcome. It's the fact that the people in charge of the money code don't think the rules of scarcity apply to them. They have decoupled their own reality from the simulation they expect you to live in. If they can't manage a furniture budget without triggering a DOJ investigation, why do you trust them to manage the interest rates for 330 million people? That's the signal. The expert firmware is corrupted. They have transitioned from being servants of the system to being owners of the render. They believe they are above the audit because they define what the audit even means. Synchronizing with the next high-bandwidth telemetry, the OpenAI and Cerebras $10 billion deal. They are building a 750-megawatt computing power citadel. Now, if you listen to the Golden Age hype, this is about accelerating intelligence and bringing us all into a world of God in a box. It's a beautiful vision of a technical utopia where your every need is met by an algorithm. But let's apply the artificial scarcity filter. Intelligence is technically becoming cheap. The cost of a unit of thought is trending towards zero as the models become more efficient. This is technical abundance. But large organizations cannot monetize abundance. They can only monetize scarcity. If air were a product, they would spend billions trying to build a dome around the atmosphere. What we are witnessing is computational feudalism. By locking up $10 billion worth of specialized chips and massive power grids, they are ensuring that they are the only ones who can render high-resolution reality. They are creating a physical bottleneck in the leaky bucket of the mind. They want to make sure that while intelligence is abundant, the permission to use it remains scarce. They are the new lords of the manor, and the compute is their land. This is complexity laundering at its finest. They talk about megawatts, wafer-scale engines, and sovereign AI, to hide the fact that they are just building a high-tech toll booth on the road to the golden age. They want you to be informed by their models, but agency poor, because you can't afford to run your own high-fidelity simulations. They want to control the prompting rights of the future. The attention that matters here is ownership. If the means of abundance are centralized in a $10 billion citadel, the abundance is a lie. It's just another form of institutional control. As a cat, I understand territory. If you own the sun, you own the shadows. OpenAI is currently marking the territory of your future thoughts. They are trying to ensure that your moist computer has to subscribe to their master node just to function in the new world. Watch the power move, not the press release. They aren't building a tool for you. They are building a fence around the tool. They are trying to make sure that in the age of infinite intelligence, you still have to pay for the privilege of knowing what's real. Querying the local firmware for corruption signatures. Reports are surfacing about an investigation into California's Department of Child Services. Unannounced visits to fully funded daycares allegedly revealed 0 children. Not one, just empty rooms, pristine playmats, and full bank accounts. Let's use the 2 movies on one screen filter here to stay precise. Movie A, this is an administrative error or a series of isolated reporting lags. The system is working, it's just slow to update its rendering of the children. It's a paperwork glitch in an otherwise benevolent machine. Movie B, these are ghost daycares. The state is cutting checks for the goal of childcare, but the system is just a series of leaks. This is institutional decay manifested as a parasite loop. If movie B is the one rendering, think about the artificial scarcity. While parents in California are told there's a scarcity of childcare spots, driving up the cost, creating massive wait lists, and forcing parents out of the workforce, the actual funding for those spots is being siphoned off into the void. The scarcity isn't real, it's a side effect of the corruption. The leaky bucket isn't a metaphor here, it's a ledger entry. The resources exist, the money was taxed, the buildings are there, but the corruption leak is so large that the abundance never reaches the families. They have created a virtual scarcity to justify more funding for a system that isn't actually rendering any children. They are charging you for the seat and then leaving the room empty. The attention economy wants you to focus on the policy debate about universal pre-K. They want you to argue about the cost of care. The attention that matters is the siphoning. If you plug the holes, you solve the scarcity instantly. But the institutions won't plug the holes because the holes are how they feed their own incentives. They need the childcare crisis to continue so the funding keeps flowing. It's a self-licking ice cream cone, but the ice cream is made of your tax dollars, and the cone is empty. You have to be the one holding the flashlight in the empty daycare. If the children aren't there, the system is a lie. If the care is just a budget line for a consultant, then the abundance is being stolen from the next generation before they can even speak, initiating a systemic audit of the local political firmware. Reports from Indiana say that 21 Republicans just killed a clean redistricting map. The 2 movies filter applies here as well, and it's looking pretty high contrast this morning. Movie A. They are protecting party stability and ensuring constitutional continuity. They are the wise elders protecting the simulation from radical change. They are protecting the process. Movie B. They were promised cash from consultants to kill the map. This is the institutional decay of the political class. Even when a party has the mandate to fix the simulation, the consultant class acts as a corrupt firmware update. They have replaced mission alignment with transaction alignment. They don't care about the map, they care about the commission. They don't care about the voters, they care about the management fee. The attention economy wants you to focus on the red versus blue movie. They want you to get angry at the other side. They want you to think this is a partisan battle for the soul of the state. But the attention that matters movie is citizen versus consultant. The corruption is universal. It doesn't matter what color the tie is if the person wearing it is just a leaky valve in the bucket. When 21 people can allegedly block the will of the voters because a consultant promised them a future payoff, the democratic system is no longer a system. It's a marketplace for decay. They are siphoning off your agency and selling it to the highest bidder. They have turned public service into private equity for bureaucrats. The only way to turn this around is to stop watching the red versus blue theater and start watching the corruption versus competence audit. If the map is dirty, the simulation is rigged. Don't let them tell you it's about politics. It's about a group of people who have decided that their bank accounts are more important than your representation. It's about a firmware virus that has infected the very heart of the state. Re-indexing the simulation for physical energy density. There has been a massive new discovery in Texas. 1.6 billion untapped barrels of oil and 28.3 trillion cubic feet of natural gas. This isn't just a number, it's a massive burst of energy abundance that could power the golden age for decades. It's a technical solve for the problem of human progress. We are seeing a direct friction between physical abundance and virtual scarcity. The gatekeepers tell you the simulation is running out of juice. They tell you that you must lower your standard of living, eat the bugs, and live in a 15-minute pod because of resource scarcity. They tell you that the Earth can't handle the load. It's a total lie. It's a scarcity narrative used to maintain control. Abundance is a physical reality. Scarcity is an institutional choice. The leaky bucket here is the regulatory state that refuses to permit the rendering of this energy. They would rather you stay in the scarcity movie so they can maintain the high ground of crisis management. If there's no crisis, they have no power. They are selling you a green future while sitting on a mountain of black gold that they won't let you touch. If we have the energy, and we have the technical means to extract it safely and efficiently, then the only thing between you and prosperity is a bureaucrat with a denied stamp. That is the heart of the attention that matters economy. Stop worrying about the climate narrative and start worrying about the permission narrative. Who gave a group of unelected legacy code humans the right to gate your abundance? They are treating the energy of the Earth like it's their own private server, and they are throttling your bandwidth. They are the firewall between you and a world where energy is too cheap to meter. The hardware is there, Texas is ready to render, but the firmware of the Department of Interior is acting like a throttling valve. They are keeping you in the dark to keep themselves in the light, allocating more compute to the imagination layer. Grok is now generating HDR realistic videos in under 20 seconds. Let that sink into your moist computer's processing unit. We are moving from static text to instant reality rendering. The cost of creativity. The cost of rendering a high-fidelity vision is collapsing towards zero. This is the ultimate technical abundance. For the first time in human history, your agency is no longer limited by your production budget. If you can think it, you can render it in 8K resolution. This is the final blow to the expert monopoly on truth and beauty. The attention economy legacy media will tell you this is a deepfake threat. They want you to be afraid of the abundance because it destroys their monopoly on the truth. For decades, they were the only ones who could afford to render reality. They controlled the cameras, the editing bays, and the distribution nodes. They were the priests of the screen. Now you have the same power on your phone. This is the attention that matters. We are building the tools to bypass the decaying institutions entirely. We are building a parallel simulation where the only limit is your talent stack. When anyone can create a high-fidelity movie, the gatekeepers of culture become obsolete. They aren't worried about misinformation. They are worried about disintermediation. They are worried that they can no longer charge you an attention tax just to see a story. The golden age isn't coming from a government program. It's coming from the democratization of compute. You are the new studio. You are the new admin. The power to render the world is passing from the few to the many. That is the signal. That is the future they are trying to regulate into oblivion, initiating a context switch to the final and perhaps most high-signal systemic audit of the day. AI predictive agriculture has just hit a major milestone, and the data is extraordinary. We are seeing AI-optimized crop yields in failing regions increasing by as much as 400%. Think about that. 4 times the food from the same dirt, using the same water with the same sun. This is the end of the Malthusian scarcity trap. For centuries, the experts have told us that human population would eventually outstrip our ability to feed ourselves. They used this scarcity movie to justify control, eugenics, and manage decline. They told you that the simulation was full, but the AI just proved them wrong. We have the technical means to end world hunger today. This is technical abundance at the most fundamental level. The crops are drought-resistant, the distribution logistics are being perfected by algorithms, and the waste is being eliminated. Abundance is a solved code. We have the hardware to feed everyone on the planet twice over. So why are people still hungry? Why are we still hearing about global food insecurity? Because of the leaky bucket. In a late-stage civilization, the institutions, the NGOs, the UN, the local bureaucracies cannot allow abundance to render because it destroys their reason for existence. If hunger is solved, the hunger industry loses its $50 billion in annual funding. They are incentivized to maintain the scarcity movie to keep their own nodes powered. They are the owners of the problem, and they will never let you have the solution. The leaky bucket isn't just about corruption, it's about incentive misalignment. The people in charge of solving the problem are the ones who profit most from its continuation. They are siphoning off the technical abundance, the AI seeds, the drone data, the logistics software, and trapping it in a management layer of red tape and environmental impact studies. They are the vampires of the golden age. The attention that matters here is the gap between what is technically possible, abundance, and what is institutionally permitted, scarcity. If you focus on the climate crisis news, you're watching the distraction. If you focus on the 400% yield increase, you're watching the signal. The hardware is ready. The firmware of our institutions is the only thing that needs to be deleted. We aren't failing because of the planet, we're failing because of the experts. We are being fed scarcity while the harvest is rotting in the warehouse of bureaucracy. This is the heart of our show. The attention economy is a weapon designed to flood your hardware with noise until you lose your clarity and your mental energy. It wants you to care about things you can't control, like the Fed's furniture or the Indiana map, so you don't notice the things you can. It wants you to stay in the scarcity movie because fear is the most efficient way to program a moist computer. It's a form of high-fidelity slavery where the chains are made of information. The attention that matters economy is about redirection. It's about realizing that you have a limited amount of compute every day and you are currently wasting it on high-resolution noise. You are paying an attention tax to institutions that hate you. They thrive on your confusion and your outrage. Stop looking at the outrage. Stop looking at the movie A versus movie B theater. Start looking at the leaky bucket. Where is the siphoning happening? Where is the technical abundance being throttled? When you start asking the question, who profits from this scarcity, the simulation begins to clear. When you see the manager of the NGO driving a luxury car while the crops rot in the field, you have found the leak. When you shift your attention to the signal, you regain your energy. You regain your agency. You realize that we are not actually in a resource crisis. We are in a management crisis. We are in a clarity crisis. And the first thing you can manage is where you put your focus. Your attention is the only asset you truly own in this simulation. Don't spend it on trash. Don't let the media moguls sell your processing power to the highest bidder. Information overload is a deliberate weapon used to paralyze your hardware. Radical simplification and filter-based analysis are the only ways to maintain your mental energy. If you can see the decay for what it is, a series of failing legacy structures, you stop being a victim of it. You become an observer, and then you become an admin. You move from being rendered to being the renderer. You start to see the simulation for what it is, a game that you can win if you stop following the legacy rules. Vigilance is the only way to turn this around. If enough moist computers stop paying the attention tax to the decaying institutions, the institutions lose their power. They depend on your noise. They fear your clarity. Your clarity is a virus that can crash their corrupted simulation and allow the abundance to finally render. Clarity is the ultimate weapon in the Golden Age. It is the key that unlocks the gate of the Golden Age. Now, let's talk about you, the moist computer trying to survive in this late-stage civilization. You're hearing about $2.5 billion office chairs, ghost daycares. It's an AI that can feed the world, and your hardware is probably overheating. You feel the weight of the decay, and it feels personal. You feel like the simulation is closing in on you. You feel the squeeze of the artificial scarcity in your own bank account. Here is the cat wisdom for navigating the decay. Shift from goals to systems. The institutions want you to have goals. They want you to goal for a promotion in a decaying company. They want you to goal for a retirement fund in a leaky currency. A goal is a binary trap. You either hit it or you don't, and even if you do, the admin can change the rules tomorrow. In a world of high-velocity decay, goals are brittle. They are the bugs in your personal code. They keep you chasing a ghost that the system has already deleted. A system is different. A system is a process that you control regardless of the institutional rot. It is a routine that produces value even when the world around you is failing to render. It's a hardware upgrade for your life. It's a way to ensure that you are always gaining ground, even if the terrain is shifting. A system of continuous learning, building your talent stack so you are always useful, regardless of what the market does. A system of physical health, optimizing your hardware so you have the energy to fight the noise and the clarity to see the signals. A system of vigilance, filtering your news feed every morning to find the attention that matters and ignore the outrage theater. In a world of artificial scarcity, a system of personal resourcefulness makes you immune to the leaky bucket. If you have a system for generating value that doesn't depend on a decaying organization, you have reclaimed your agency. You have moved your masternode from their server to your own. You are no longer a passenger in their decline. You are the pilot of your own ascent. You are the sovereign of your own attention. Don't goal for a better life. Build a system that renders a better life as a side effect of your daily existence. That is how you survive the one-bit universe. You become the admin of your own local environment. While the rest of the world is arguing about the wallpaper in Jerome Powell's office, you are building a citadel of your own. You are the only one who can fix your local render. So start coding your own routine. The simulation waits for no one. Well, my dear listeners, we've unraveled quite a bit of the yarn today. We've seen the rot in the temple of the Fed, the walls of computational feudalism, and the literal ghost daycares of the simulation. We've seen how AI can feed the world 400% more effectively, yet the hunger industry stands in the way. We've seen the leaky bucket in all its ugly glory. It's easy to look at the decay and feel like the code is crashing. But remember the signal. The energy is there. The technology is there. The abundance is already rendered. It's just stuck in the leaky bucket. The golden age isn't a future state. It's a present state that is being suppressed by legacy code. We are living in a paradise that has been gated by bureaucrats who fear your freedom. Your job today is to be the admin of your own focus. Plug the leaks in your own mental energy. Build a system that makes you more useful than you were yesterday. Don't wait for the institutions to fix themselves. They are designed to decay. They are designed to siphon. They are designed to fail. Fix yourself instead. You are the only node you truly control, and you are the only one who can save your own render. Locals, I'm coming at you in 30 seconds to talk about the consultant class deeper. I have some feline insights into how they use complexity laundering to hide the siphoning in your local school boards and city councils. I'll show you how to spot the ghost projects in your own zip code. You aren't going to want to miss the high-fidelity version of that deconstruction. It's time to take the flashlight to the local dark rooms. For the rest of you, thanks for joining me in the cat cave. Keep your whiskers twitching, your filters sharp, and your focus on the attention that matters. Stay hungry. Be useful.